The Kia EV9 is the brand's most expensive offering yet, and it aims to deliver vast practicality as a hard-to-swallow price tag. But listing a car for £64,995 brings on new competition for the EV9, namely in the form of the BMW iX, because for similar money you can find yourself a one-year-old example of the BMW iX50 with around 10,000 miles on the clock. So let's see if the Kia EV9 can come on top. Arguably the most important thing to look out for with these luxury electric SUVs is what sort of range you'll be getting. Whichever EV9 you go for, you'll find yourself with the same 95 kWh battery. And in the entry-level model which I'm pitching in this comparison, this car is good for a claimed range of 349 miles. And if you were to go for the heavier and more expensive all-wheel drive model, that would offer a lower 313 miles of range. However, this is not the full story, as the entry-level Model Air is only equipped with 200 brake horsepower, versus 378 brake horsepower in the all-wheel drive model. This makes for quite a lethargic 0 to 60 time of 9.4 seconds, while the upper two trims are capable of it in 5.3 seconds. The BMW iX model I'm pitching against the EV9 is the mid-spec option with the highest range. That range figure is 383 miles, and unlike with the EV9, this model doesn't sacrifice performance either, with a 0 to 60 time of 4.6 seconds. And all this is because of a larger 111.5 kWh battery and all-wheel drive. And I'll put the two stats of these cars side by side, and it's pretty conclusive which car wins this category. The kind of people who are buying these cars are most likely families, and in which case practicality will be high on their agenda. And this is where the Kia starts becoming more favourable, because unlike most EVs, the EV9 can seat 7 people. And from what I've heard, the third row of seats is no prison cell either, with plenty of space for 6-footers' knees and heads. When the third row is not in operation, the boot can actually be boosted to 828 litres versus only 500 litres in the iX. Space in the second row actually turns the table slightly because the iX's wider body means there's more space for everyone's shoulders in the iX. But when there's only 2 people in the middle row, both cars are very, very nice and you can't complain. Up front, the driving position is great in both vehicles because you sit up high and have a great view forward. Interior storage actually favours the iX more than the EV9. However, the superior boot space and option of 7 seats in the EV9 makes it a clear winner in this category. The BMW iX and Kia EV9 both weigh 2.6 tonnes each, so what effect has this had on both the ride and the handling? Well, unfortunately the Kia goes without air suspension, and this does make a big difference when compared to the iX. There's no denying that the EV9 is comfy around town, but it simply lacks the refinement of the iX. At higher speeds, the EV9 does improve, being a relaxing car to cover miles in. However, road and wind noise is noticeably higher than in the iX. The iX simply does a tremendous job at cocooning you from the outside world. The iX has also done a great balance between the comfort and sporting credentials. The lower positioning of the batteries makes the iX truly agile on winding roads, and the whole experience is only really let down by the lack of steering feedback. Similarly, the EV9 steering is pretty numb, but it's not atrocious in the corners either because the EV9 grips well, although the body roll is far higher than in the iX. Overall, the BMW iX takes a win yet again, as it's blessed with great handling and comfort. The iX also needs to be luxurious when stationary as well as on the move, which is why the interior is simply beautiful. BMW interiors often sit on the edge of caution, but with the iX the interior is wonderful, making the iX a truly special place to sit. BMW has also done a great job at keeping build quality and plush just top tier. The infotainment system is a little daunting at first, but you'll soon like the fact that the iDrive controller remains after many years. The display is crisp and quick to respond to inputs as well. The EV9 definitely has a modern ambience, but lacks the show appeal of the iX. The infotainment system in the Kia is far simpler to use, but the climate control settings are obscured by the steering wheel, which will be hard to get used to. Quality in the EV9 is mediocre, with some soft touch materials, but it's nowhere near as plush as Audi's or BMW's. The EV9 interior just about lives up to what you'd expect at this price point, but when compared with the best car interior out there, it makes it seem very low rent. Where the Kia can regain some stars is when it comes to charging. The EV9 operates at 800 volt, 350 kilowatt charging speeds, meaning 148 miles of range can be delivered in just 15 minutes, when you find the right charger that is. The EV9 also supports bidirectional charging, which means appliances can be charged on the move. The iX is also capable of 200 kWh charging speeds, which is pretty standard. To me, the verdict is very simple here. The iX is by far the superior choice in this test. The Kia EV9's biggest issue is its price, because at £65,000 it's very expensive for a Kia, but it's also too cheap to add features such as air suspension and a better interior. If I was Kia, I'd have made the EV9 under the Genesis brand name and bumped the price up to £100,000, where you could then add air suspension and a beautiful interior as well as a larger battery. To me, that would be a far better value car than what Kia's given us, which to me is just like a £45,000 car in just a big, larger suit. Unfortunately, I cannot recommend the EV9 and I have to award it a score of 6.5 out of 10. Meanwhile, the BMW iX as a used buy is a straight 10 out of 10, and new I reckon it's a 9 out of 10.